Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Victor and welcome to my YouTube page, which is all about helping people navigate their awakening process. And today's video is going to talk about the experience of when your ascension or awakening process brings you to a place of multifaceted convergence, like an awakening climax. There's this channel I used to watch all the time, and the entity that came through was called Bashar, and he called these experiences soul-quakes. And having gone through many of them, I would have to say that's a very appropriate way to name such an experience. These experiences are very, very, very difficult and challenging to get through. They really push you beyond your limits in all ways. It's oftentimes just this shit pile of situations, feelings, ascension symptoms, emotions that all kind of hit you in a short period, a short succession, which creates just an incredibly chaotic and intense and unnerving experience. Now, what's actually happening is you're experiencing a very big energetic upgrade or jump in your vibrational frequency, which is a good thing. But the actual real world translation of such an experience, again, is as I described. And to kind of paint a picture or give you kind of more of an idea of what I'm talking about, I'll share one of my own soul quake experiences, which is a little bit comical in retrospect, but at the time was very, very intense, very, very tough to get through. So a long time ago, it was like 2011, is when I started to, I had like this awakening experience at a concert, and I realized that I was like this light worker. I was someone who has come here to awaken, and the fact that the earth is ascending, I kind of came into all this knowledge. And shortly after that, my life started just completely falling apart, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And one of the main things that happened to us is my wife and I realized that we had to get out of our house. It was in a neighborhood with very low vibration people. And although it was a very nice house, very cozy, new, big home, and a relatively safe, nice neighborhood, we could not stay there. So we left, but we didn't know where we were going. And a lot of times, I'm sure you guys go through that, where you know you got to do something, or you got to make a big change, but you don't know where you're really heading. That's kind of what we were doing. We didn't know where we wanted to move. So we decided to sell our house and buy a big RV and kind of go travel around the country until we knew what to do. And it seemed like a good idea. So we did that. As ballsy and nutty as that was to everybody that knew us, that's exactly what we did. We sold our home. So here we are. It's like the last few days before we're going to sell our house. And any of you guys who have moved, you know moving is stressful. I've moved a million times, and every time it's been a big pain in the ass and very tiresome, and there's a lot to do, a lot of details, very draining. And being that this was our biggest and first move, it was the most intense. So we were exhausted trying to meet these deadlines, get out of the house in such and such time, have the whole house, our whole unorganized house, packed up and carried off by the movers. We had to be out. The new owners were going to come in. And it all happened very quickly. We sold our house quickly. We had to get out. So there's just like this big anticipation, this big, again, race against time. So we were already very tired. I remember that night we had slept on the floor. We had nothing. All our furniture was gone. So we just slept right there, smack dab on the floor, no pillow, no blanket, nothing. And we woke up and we had made our deadline. We had pulled our brand new RV in front of our house, and we were going to leave. And that was it. We said goodbye to our home, our big sense of stability. We basically, again, we said goodbye to it. We left that. And immediately having done that, the reality of what we had just done kicked in. You know, this is a very fast-paced experience. The decision to move, the move itself happened very quickly. Not a lot of time to sit and really digest what the gravity of the situation. So as this kind of set in, we're like, oh my God, we just sold our house. We have nowhere to go. And this RV was incredibly challenging to drive. It was like a 34-foot fifth wheel. And I'm not into cars or trucks or anything, so pulling this big thing was pretty damn stressful for the first time. And we didn't know where to go. We didn't have a destination to go. So we decided we were just going to stay at a nearby hotel, and get like a good night's sleep before we test ourselves in the real world with our new RV. So we get to this hotel, and anybody who's driven a big trailer or an RV knows that a lot of places, a lot of parking lots are not equipped for massive things like a big RV to just go in and navigate around in. So I learned that the hard way. So we pulled into this hotel, and it was too late, but I got in there and I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to get this thing out of there. And I was right. I tried to make this sharp turn, and sure enough, there was no way I was going to get out of there. And it started pouring rain out of the blue, thunderstorming, pouring rain. I'm feeling like really nervous about being in this RV because I was so unfamiliar with it, and I was so stressed. The emotions of like having just moved was like driving me crazy. We had a daughter, we had 2 kids, so we had like this big life packed into this little RV that we didn't know how to drive, and we were in this little parking lot having no idea how to get out, and it was raining. And finally, even though I was you could have called that a moment of a soul quake in and of itself, but I was like, okay, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. I kind of kept my cool to some extent, and I started like just, pulling forward a few feet, backing up, pulling forward, backing up, one of those things. About 20 minutes later, I found myself face to face. I ended up doing a full 180. I was face to face with a big light post, and right behind me was a light post, and there was about 2 feet of space on each side. I was stuck smack dab in the middle of these 2 light posts. I wasn't even aware that there was one in the back until I hit it. I backed into this thing. So I bent up my brand new camper. I was stuck here. It was raining. We had no home, and it was like soul quake. That was one of my many soul quakes, where life brings you to a place of, again, a convergence, a cathartic climax experienced in a very stressful and negative way on all levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, literally, life situationally. Everything was way off balance, way out of sorts, absolutely no idea where this was heading, questioning your faith, like, wow, I kind of made these decisions based on faith, and here I am. And it's, how does one have faith in this particular moment when things are so screwed up? Am I crazy? Am I completely out of my mind making these stupid decisions? Selling my house? What was I thinking? That's a soul quake. So that's going to happen. You're going to experience these things because the degree of change we are going through, going from a normal human being primarily guided by their ego to an awakened spirit here in the physical, it's not a simple thing. It's a change that you can't even comprehend until you've gone through enough of it that you can look back and see, wow, how much different I am now than I was. So along the way, you have to sometimes attract to yourself these situations that will provoke and catalyze massive change. And oftentimes in doing so, you attract the effect of these massive changes that you're kind of imposing on yourself. We get this guidance to make a move. We make the move into the unknown. It's usually backed by a very strong faith, but that faith goes away and you're left out in the wilderness, naked in the dark, with this experience of like, whoa, this is the repercussions of what I just did. Now what? I don't know what to do. Things are falling apart. And a lot of you guys are going to be going through this. I felt that energy a little bit present yesterday, which is why I talked about it. I kind of had like little mini soul quakes throughout the day where I just felt like on many levels my life was being shown to me at how like messed up it was. So I suspect some of you guys might be going through that even more intensely than I did. And I just kind of wanted to make this video to let you know it's a normal experience to come to expect them. And it's a necessary thing to make you a true, empowered, light worker, ascended, enlightened type of individual. You know, the whole premise is coming here into this realm of the earth plane during this time to awaken on earth, to be an awakened spirit. But an awakened spirit who hides away in the dark doesn't really affect that much actual change. It's good energetically, but essentially what is really required are living examples, people that will inspire others with their self, with their life, to go through their transformations. And what better of an example is one who has been through the shit, one who has gone through a lot of tough experiences. So when they speak, when you finally do your thing and start to kind of emerge out of this chaotic ascension process, you will have an aura about you that attracts people's attention, that will provoke and spark change. And it's not easy to do so, but you chose this path simply because you knew you could handle it. You could get through it. So expect these on your journey. Don't come to fear them. They're inevitable. Doesn't matter how grounded and how balanced you make yourself, how much you meditate. You're gonna change. You're gonna go through these shifts, and it's not always pleasant and it's not always pretty. But the after effects are always worth it. I look back at that now. I had a fun story to share. It's so cool for me to see like how awesome I am at like driving RVs now. Me and my wife, we're pros. In fact, we're gonna, in the next 6 months, you'll see, hopefully we're gonna sell our house again and move back into an RV and move out to Southern California and kind of set up camp there, at least temporarily, while we save up for a house. And we're pros now. When we pull up an RV now, we're like we got this. Everything's like dialed in. This really complex experience that left us with so many like challenging times. Now those are beyond us, and now we have a mastery over this particular little RV experience, and now that'll be very beneficial to us as we go forth in our next chapter of our life. So there's all these many layers that are beneficial to you based on these challenging experiences. There's always a good, the more difficult a situation you find yourself in, the more of a payoff it's going to have down the line. Even though I could have never in a million years foresaw, 7-8 years later, that we'd be going and doing this RV thing again, and I would be able to actually draw wisdom from this particular experience. You never can see that far ahead. You just have to trust. You have to just still continue to take action based on your instinct and your intuition. Ignore your mind, ignore the emotions. They're going to flare up and they're going to try to hold you back, hold you in this illusion of safety. But you got to keep going forward. Keep listening to your body, your intuition, your psychic insights. They are accurate. They will guide you to a place where you really want to be, even though you're going to take a path that you would have never in a million years foresaw or mapped out by yourself. But it is, in fact, the fastest way to get from A to B, from here where you are now to your eventual end as an enlightened, ascended being, living in the world as a living prime example of what it really means to be alive.